Again, the only time you'd need the fiberglass is in a wintertime application. And because it's code. You got to put something in there, okay? Yes, sir.
And in a new house, why don't you just staple this to the outside studs, put your drywall on, and it's finished?
You could do that. We were just talking about this earlier with somebody else. If you take tin foil, and that's what you have in your home, and you know, it's aluminum, but it has a high content of tin. You notice that you have a shiny side and you have a dull side, okay? If you do this test at home, just like we did right here, you'll find that the shiny side will reflect heat, not as great as this, but the dull side will just conduct right through, okay? So when you're doing, this is a trick for baking, if you're doing baked potatoes at home, you want to put the shiny side to the inside, the heat will transfer through, and then you've trapped it, and that's what will make your potatoes, you know, cook faster. You've probably been doing it wrong all these years.
Yeah, in 1969, we were up 500 miles north of Winnipeg, in a city called Thompson.
Okay.
Where it goes to minus 60 up there.
But it's a dry cold.
And we
Still don't make any difference, that's cold.
what we did in one house for a test, we took regular tinfoil, 4-inch tinfoil, and we stapled it instead of using polyethylene. And we did the ceiling and the walls, and then put the drywall over top of it. But we could never do a test to know if this house, because we didn't have another house right beside it that was exactly the same.
What kind of effect did you realize out of it?
We thought we were making money, but we don't know if we really ever did.
Okay.
Because we couldn't test it.
Well, years ago.
But we did try it.
Okay. Well, so you're on the same type track,
Yeah.
you know. Years ago, I came up with an idea of actually just putting this material to the backside of either OSB or plywood for decking of houses, okay? And this is, we tested it at Texas A&M, and after a year of testing, the guy calls me up, says, we got the results, you need to come down, let's talk about this. And I get down there and he says, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is you did slow down the heat transfer on the roof. The bad news is you took a 20-year shingle down to a year because you held so much heat right at that tar level.
You baked
when you did. Okay,
yeah. So that's not the way to do it. I see some guys that are trying that now, but you know, they're not doing it right, and they don't have the right materials, and a lot of the builders in Texas, they won't even put the stuff on unless the owner will sign off, because we know what's going to happen, you know, to the shingles. So now if you had a metal deck, you could possibly get away with that. And if you use metal, if you want to put it on the roof of a house that's going to have a metal deck roof on it, what you would do is you'd put it down, then come and fur it off, sort of like your rain screen, and then you put the deck right on top of it, and that's tremendous. You know, that's tremendous right there.
If I staple this to the outside studs before I put no insulation in, put my drywall on the inside, go to the outside, do the same again. Do I staple?
You don't need but one layer.
Only one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You do. I mean, you
don't have to
it's
do
redundant.
So
you know?
you would put it on the inside or outside? Which is more preferred?
I prefer to put it on the inside. You know, I've seen your construction up here with the rain screens, and you know, you can go,
pretty new,
yeah, that you can go either way. I mean, I understand. I had all these guys tell me why they did it, and it was mainly because of the stucco issue. You know, so that you have a way to get air behind the stucco so that it doesn't, you know, to dry out. Otherwise, then.
Well, that wasn't the only problem. We had lots of flashing problems around windows and doors, and the water would go in behind and rot.
Oh my gosh.
That was probably a bigger problem than water going through the stucco.
I can see what you're talking about.
I don't know how we going to get this through the BC Building Code.
Well, that's what Derek's here to do. Okay. Now we've got it approved through the what was the code that you did the testing on up here?
Well, we had to get the fire and smoke spread, which is CAN ULC.SO2.
Okay.
And it went through that. We have all the documentation for that because we could not market it here without that.
Is that Canada one?
That's
Yeah.
That's Canada. Yep. We have the same thing we do in the United States. You know, you don't want to put something out there that's going to be
But it also, I think
accelerated.
it has to go through BC Building Code too, doesn't it?
So every province has to sign off on it, I think.
I'm not sure of what you guys' codes are up here. California is the only state in the United States that it is in the building code, okay, on new house construction, okay. But every place else in the United States, they allow us to use it in just extra. They sign off on it because it's an extra help as far as energy.